Have you ever wondered why you keep meeting the same kind of person over and over again? They appear in your life like characters from a recurring dream, first charming, magnetic, even healing. You feel drawn to them by some invisible force you can't quite name. Yet somehow, it always ends the same way. The story that began with such promised twists into something familiar and painful. You find yourself drained, as if some essential part of you has been quietly siphoned away. Confused by how something that felt so right could go so wrong. Betrayed not just by them, but by your own judgment. This isn't some mystical curse hanging over your relationships. It's not a streak of bad luck that time will eventually break. It's something far more profound happening beneath the surface of your awareness. Carl Jung, one of psychology's greatest minds, gave it a name. He called it the shadow, and it's been quietly choosing your relationships for you all along. The shadow is not what you might think. It's not evil incarnate or some dark entity lurking within. It's not the villain of your story. It's your unacknowledged self, a collection of all the parts of you that were deemed unacceptable. Think back to your childhood, those moments when you were told your anger was too much, when your tears were met with impatience, when your pride was labeled as vanity, when your need for attention was dismissed as neediness. All those parts of you that were shamed, rejected, punished, or repressed, they don't simply evaporate into thin air. They don't disappear because someone told you they should. Instead, they sink. Like stones dropped into still water, they descend below the surface of your consciousness, into the depths of your unconscious mind. But unlike stones, they don't rest dormant at the bottom. They remain alive, active, waiting for recognition, watching for opportunities to emerge, and most importantly, acting through you in ways you don't perceive. Carl Jung described the shadow as everything we refuse to see about ourselves. It's the emotional blind spot we carry into adulthood, the aspects of our personality that operate beneath our awareness. We move through life thinking we're making conscious choices, especially in our relationships. We believe we're selecting partners based on our preferences, our values, our conscious desires. But in reality, our shadow is pulling the strings. Because the unconscious doesn't attract what you want, it attracts what you are, or more precisely, what you refuse to admit you are. Why are we inexplicably drawn to toxic people? It's not their charm, it's their haunting familiarity. They echo the unresolved chapters of our past, a home that was never truly safe. This is repetition compulsion, our psyche's desperate attempt to rewrite old wounds. We don't fall for them, we fall for the wound they mirror. Listen, doesn't their cruelest criticism sound like a parent's voice you never answered? Their withdrawal reawakens that ancient fear of being invisible, unworthy. Their broken promises feel like childhood disappointments you're doomed to relive. Attraction is recognition, your nervous system finding its familiar chaotic rhythm. Your shadow chooses partners perfectly cast for your unconscious drama. But wounds don't heal through repetition, only through bringing darkness to light. In shadow-driven relationships, we don't just interact, we perform, like actors in a play rehearsed countless times. First, meet the rescuer, drawn to broken souls, mistaking repair for love. Beneath their cape of care hides their own desperate need to be saved. Then there's the victim, wearing suffering like a crown. Their pain becomes currency. If they healed, would anyone notice? And the persecutor, building walls of criticism to contain their chaos. Their judgments are shields against their own raw powerlessness. We all carry these roles, an entire cast hidden in our psyche's shadows. One takes center stage when we're unaware, reciting lines we didn't write. Our partners mirror us perfectly, knowing their role because we know ours. This is the hidden dance, steps remembered by the body, forgotten by the mind. The shadow doesn't just shape who you're attracted to, it determines how you see others and how they see you. Not only do you project your shadow onto others, they project theirs onto you. This is why certain people seem to irrationally hate you from the moment you meet, or why someone might suddenly put you on a pedestal, attributing qualities to you that feel exaggerated or unearned. They're not seeing you, not really. They're seeing a part of themselves they've disowned, now walking around in human form with your face attached to it. Think about someone who brings out an inexplicable rage in you, someone whose very presence feels like sandpaper on your soul. What quality in them triggers you so deeply? Is it their confidence that you label as arrogance, their assertiveness that you call aggression? Whatever it is, you don't hate it because it's foreign to you. You hate it because it's familiar, because somewhere inside it's also you. If someone can't accept their own anger, they'll be repulsed by yours, even when it's completely justified. Every toxic connection is a mirror, reflecting parts of yourself you haven't yet embraced. The question that can transform these painful encounters is not, what's wrong with them, but rather, what is this showing me about me? The person who triggers you most intensely is often your greatest teacher, if you're willing to look beyond them and into yourself. The path to freedom begins not outside, but within. Compassionate awareness is the first light in darkness. What we judge harshly in others often lives within us. Disproportionate reactions trace back to forgotten wounds. The traits we condemn are breadcrumbs to our shadows. Compliments that discomfort us mirror what we deny. When praise feels wrong, the shadow whispers. The qualities we dismiss are keys to our wholeness. Personality quirks are shadow clues in disguise. Each judgment is a map to forgotten territories. The next step is even more challenging. Ask yourself, what role am I playing in this pattern? This requires brutal honesty and the courage to see beyond your familiar story. Are you rescuing people who don't want to be saved? Do you find yourself drawn to fixing partners rather than loving them as they are? Perhaps your identity is wrapped up in being the helper that you don't know who you'd be without someone to rescue. Or maybe you're accepting mistreatment because it feels familiar. Perhaps on some deep level, you don't believe better exists. You might be afraid of being seen as powerful, assertive, or even selfish. Society punishes these traits, especially in women. This examination is about understanding your unconscious invitations. Like starving for nutrients but craving junk food, your psyche craves distorted versions of what you've rejected in yourself. Finally, we arrive at the most transformative step, integration. Shadow work is not about destroying the shadow, it's about befriending it. Bringing the shadow into the light of consciousness, where it transforms from saboteur to ally. This is delicate, sacred work, creating a safe inner space for rejected parts of yourself. When you own your anger, it transforms into healthy boundaries and protection. When you accept your vulnerability, it becomes authentic connection and intimacy. When you embrace your inner power, you stop fearing those who try to control you. Integration happens gradually, through self-awareness and compassion. It happens when you catch old patterns and pause, when you question your harsh judgments, when you feel the pull toward familiar dysfunction and choose differently from wholeness. You've brought your shadow home where it belongs. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Those toxic connections that have caused you so much pain, they were never your fate. They were never a cosmic punishment or evidence of your unworthiness. They were a message, a pattern, a mirror. And when you finally see the reflection clearly, you don't just change your relationships, you change you. This transformation isn't immediate. It's a journey of continuous unfolding. You stop needing to be rescued. The compulsion to find someone who will save you diminishes. You stop needing to prove yourself. The desperate drive to demonstrate your worth fades. You stop attracting those who only echo your pain. The magnetic pull toward dysfunction weakens. And you begin to attract something rare, someone who meets your wholeness. This is the promise of shadow work, not perfection but wholeness. If this exploration has opened something inside you, a recognition, a question, a memory, or even a discomfort, don't keep it locked away. The shadow thrives in isolation. It loses its power when brought into connection. Comment your experience below. Share the moment of recognition that resonated most deeply, or the question that lingers. Your vulnerability might be exactly what someone else needs to begin their own journey of self-discovery. And if you're ready for deeper self-awareness, subscribe to this channel, because this journey is only just beginning. There are many more aspects of the shadow to explore, many more patterns to uncover, many more parts of yourself waiting to be reclaimed. Your shadow is waiting, not as an enemy to be defeated, but as a teacher, a guide, a forgotten part of your wholeness. This time you'll meet it with open eyes, with curiosity rather than fear, with integration rather than rejection. And in doing so, you'll discover that what once controlled you unconsciously can become a source of profound wisdom and authentic power when embraced consciously. Like the alchemists of old who sought to transform lead into gold, your darkest shadow material contains the seeds of your greatest gifts, if you have the courage to claim them. Don't wait for another painful relationship to teach you through suffering what you can learn through awareness. Begin now, with compassion, with courage, with hope. Your future relationships depend on it. If this journey into the shadow has resonated with you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Your engagement helps others discover these insights too. Remember, understanding the shadow isn't just about relationships. It's about reclaiming the fullness of who you are. Hit that notification bell for upcoming explorations. Other aspects of the psyche shape your life profoundly. Until next time, walk with both light and shadow. May they be companions on your path to wholeness. The promise of shadow work, not perfection but wholeness.